Good morning, everyone. And if you're watching this, it's probably Monday morning, and we are now entering into week 3 of menu and facility design. And this week, we'll be talking about menu and facility design, menu psychology. Okay. So as the agenda for this week or this week's lecture, we'll go over last week just a little bit. We'll talk about what concept do you think you want to be. And that's what this week's 7.5% assignment will be around, really delving into what kind of concept you think will work for you and what you want to do, and also what will work for Friday Harbor. We'll go through a little menu mechanics, menu layout and format, and some of the other things as far as what's a signature item, does it matter what kind of print, so what kind of text you use, and also what kind of imagery you use. And then we'll go into the in-class assignment. So a few things that you should know that we spoke about last week was the difference between a commercial and a non-commercial. And while we went into a lot of detail about them and the different ways that they can be operated, one of the main things to understand is that a commercial operation is the purpose is to maximize profit through the sale of food and beverage. That's their main revenue resource or revenue stream. The non-commercial, yeah, they like to make some money off their food and beverage, but it's not the main reason. And that's usually where it comes into factories and government organizations and schools and hospitals. They all have a major goal that's not selling food and beverage. We also went through a few other things in regards to how they're set up. So as a commercial, you could be independent, you could be chains and franchises and a bunch of different other items. And non-commercial is very, very large, I guess, industry, and it covers a huge breadth of different institutions. And then we also went through the advantages and disadvantages of chains, independents, and franchises, and even went into a little bit about the style of franchises that you can get. Which brings us to our next portion, and this is really where a lot of people struggle. What will your concept be? Now, just so you know, this can change as we go through. You don't need to choose one today and stick with it, but you need to choose one with this major or this first assignment or this weekly assignment coming up. As you go through, if you say, okay, we thought we're going to be a bakery, but now we're going to be more a cafe, and then the cafe turns into more like a late night cafe with desserts and coffees, that's okay. That's the whole idea, is that you evolve and change with your project. But for this week, we'll start at the basics. So what is it about Friday Harbor? So we have to look at the situation that we have put ourselves in, the scenario. So we're opening a restaurant within Friday Harbor somewhere. We don't know where yet. So things that we need to understand is that Friday Harbor is a marina resort. It's on the water, lots of water activities. It's very summer focused. It has a golf course and a huge nature park. So people will be hiking and trekking and cross-country skiing and all those different things. It has 200 acres of nature trails. So almost 1/3 of the resort is actually just made up of that. It has an 18-hole golf course as well. Some of the current competition is that they now have, I believe that the Italian restaurant's open now, and they also are home to Fishbone, which is a seafood restaurant as well. Now, I'm not saying you can't do an Italian restaurant, and I'm not saying that you can't have a seafood restaurant. But what I am saying is that they already have them, so you have to just make sure you're different than them in some way. And then also the demographics. It's predominantly Canadian residents with small amounts of Italian, Asian, and European. So that's a good thing to know. And they're financially strong, they're educated, and they live generally active, healthy lifestyles. Their family are empty nesters, and they have grown children. So that's some of the ideas about, okay, now I want to build a concept. You can kind of get an idea of what kind of situation or scenario that you're walking into. Okay, so menu mechanics. So this is kind of how most menus are set up. I won't go too much in detail about each one. So let me just click through here. Okay, so real quickly, appetizers, it's to tease the palate, and it's supposed to encourage your appetite. So they're usually small portions. They usually have quite a sharp taste because it is a small portion, and you usually try to limit to one cooking process. Now, this kind of stuff, this is when we're going to really talk about facility design. So when we look at our menu items, multiple cooking processes. So if I have to thaw it in a sink, and then I have to put it in the oven, and then when someone orders it, and then I need to put it in the deep fryer, that's many cooking surfaces or cooking processes, and that's timely. So we'll take a look at that later. Soups and salads, hot or cold options. These are quick to prepare. Usually with soups, they offer different styles. So it'll be a cream and a broth, or like a chili and that's something more light. And then salads, and they can come in accompaniment sizes or entree sizes. So this is a big change in the last maybe 10 years or so, where you see salads being a main entree now. Typically, they're more an accompaniment. Entrees, they cover all kinds of different stuff. So this will be very, very much based on your concept. Steaks, rib, chicken, seafood, sandwiches, pizzas. It all depends what you are. But if you are a high-end pizza place, that's where you're going to be. That's your wheelhouse. Where are your pizzas? Kensington's in town is a burger place. So that's their sandwiches or burgers. Side dishes. So this is the upsells. This is the side veg and the side rice and potatoes. It can include meat options and sauces. So if they want an extra side of gravy or they want an extra shrimp skewer, these are things that you have to understand need to be on your menu as well. And they're usually really good upselling things. So you can make a lot of money off this. And then the dessert, the sweet endings. So this is the easiest add-on, they say. So this is the easiest one to sell to your customer. And you should have some healthy options as well, because we're generally, as a society, we are a little bit more concerned and focused on health. We still like all the bad food, but we want to know how many calories and grams of fat and stuff like that. Next part. So how do you add or develop your menu? So a few things that you want to kind of think about. Now, your menu is going to make up, a good chunk of your major assignment, and it's what we are looking at for the next 5 or 6 weeks. So we're looking at a menu item selection. You want to balance your proteins, which means you don't want 10 different steaks and not a single chicken option. You usually, most like sit-down style family restaurants will have a combination. So they'll have steaks and shrimp or seafood and some sort of fish, and then they'll also have chicken and vegetarian options. You want to vary your cooking styles. Not everything's deep fried. Not everything goes on the grill. Usually you start building your entree, and then the rest of it kind of comes in. So when you start completing your menu, start with your entrees and start with your protein. Balance your production. So this is kind of also going with varying your cooking styles. Not everything is going in the deep fryer. Not everything's going into one particular piece of equipment. Keep it simple. For this particular menu, I'm only asking for 4 dishes for each selection. So 4 appetizers, 4 salads, 4 entrees, 4 desserts. So it doesn't need to be extravagant and crazy. And then signature items sell. So everyone has a signature item, and they seem to do really well with them. Now these are a couple here. Usually we have a lot of fun in class for people trying to guess them. But McDonald's, everyone knows of the Big Mac. Dairy Queen is the Blizzard. Burger King's the Whopper. If you go to an English pub, it's usually shepherd's pie or fish and chips. Tim Hortons is known for the Double Double. Like that is now actually in the dictionary. Double Double means how Canadians take their Tim Hortons coffee, which is kind of funny. So restaurants have dishes they call their signature dish, and the idea is that it's the most popular dish and profitable for you as well. But it isn't always. So the idea is that you want to choose your signature dish versus somebody else choosing for you. So if you look here, east on the screen, there we go. Eastside Mario's. Their signature dish has now become their free Caesar salad and bread. That's a horrible signature dish because you're literally giving this stuff away. And that's what you're most popular for, is the thing that makes you no money. It's not great. they're also not doing very well. I'm going to skip through a couple of these other slides here. So these here are menu layouts. So the menu as a concept. So when you start developing your menu, you're going to want to start also thinking about different picturing, lettering, spacing. These will all affect your concept and how it looks. So these three here, you can see that they're just kind of fun menus, I guess you want to call them. They almost look like they're placemat menus that would just be on the table when you got there. And they're having a lot of fun. They have some icons and imagery. They have some fun, and the branding is usually sticking to a couple colors. And you can kind of just see how these are all built. And I put in a few more. So this is menu. Oh my God, my dog's driving me mental. This is my dog, Jax. Say hi, Jax. And goodbye, Jax. So menu design. So this is all about branding. We'll have a class later on more about branding. But as you can see here, they have chosen a couple different styles, a couple different colors, a couple different types of text. And they have essentially created a brand using kind of a pale white, yellow, black, and they've incorporated that into every portion. So their coasters, their takeout cups, their placemats on the table, their actual menus, and then also their business cards. So you can see how this happens, and this is another one here where their concept is kind of shown through here. Next portion is menu layout. So how does an actual person read a menu, and where do their eyes go, and how do we place things on a menu? So the very first one is single panel. So this would be just a single panel, and this is all you're reading. It is used to present limited menu items and special selections. A dessert menu is usually a single panel menu. So desserts are often not in the main menu. They're its own individual menu that they present to you. Here's one, and they present to you at the end of your entree, so you can choose. It focuses the guest's attention, it's easy to handle, and it's good for quick decisions. Drink menus are sometimes like that as well. The next one, this is the one-page menu flow. So when I'm looking at number one here, this is usually where your eyes first go. So your eyes will first look at the very middle of the menu, then they go up to the top, and then they'll go up down to the bottom. That's just how our eyes work when we're looking at these menus. And usually what we want to do is put our money items, the ones we want to sell, the ones we make the most money off of, right here. And it's a tricky thing. Things that you make the most money off of aren't necessarily the most expensive. It is the item that is priced properly, that has the lowest cost, and it's the most popular. That's that great item. Okay, so the next one is a two panel. So that's essentially a book. So here you'd have your cover. You would open it up. You would have 2 pages of a menu, and then potentially maybe something on the back. So this forces you. It's very popular, but it forces you to have more balance of appetizers and entrees. You still can't fit a ton of options in there, and it's really only has 3 panels. So the inside, both sides, and the back. The front is usually just a cover that shows what your restaurant brand is. So when you're thinking about your eye flow and how it actually works with this, your eyes actually go to the right-hand side of the page. So when I would open this, you can see this, your eyes would actually be drawn to this side first, and then you would move around. So you'll see here on the PowerPoint, your eyes first go over to the right-hand side, then they move up. Now these are the entrees typically. So people usually choose what they want to eat for an entree before they have chosen their appetizer. They look at the size of the meal and what they're having, and then they'll move over and start looking at appetizers and salads and deciding if they want something like that. And then finally they end up over at the bottom. Again, all your money items, the ones that make you the most, or the ones you want to be most popular, will probably be in this 1 and 2 area for sure. And the next one is a 3 panel. So a 3 panel menu actually means 5 panels. So it's just another page inside. It's often a big menu. So a couple things that we have to understand is that this might include appetizers, salads, entrees, sides, side sauces, add-ons, beverages, you name it, right? So this is that 3-page menu. So usually iFlow will go right here to the middle, then it moves up top right over to appetizers. And then it comes around and moves back down towards the bottom. So it's funny how they find this information. They're literally they're tracking eye placement as they give people menus. But again, it's proven, and it's one of those things where first they're looking at their entree options, then they're moving over and seeing what kind of appetizers or salads that they might want. Then they'll go over and see if they've missed anything, and usually this is the area for, you'll probably have different entree items here as well, but they might also have side sauces and add-ons and, you know, a side of fries or a accompaniment salad or whatever these options are over here. Again, the higher the number, or the 1 or 2 or 3, these are your money places. These are where you will sell the most items. And a simple movement of an entree from, let's say, this area to up here will just increase its popularity just by moving it alone. Next slide. Okay. So a couple tips and tricks. We're at 16 minutes. Again, I'm going to try to keep this under 25 minutes or so. So when you are creating a menu, the first few items, usually the first 2 items, are ordered most often, and the last one on a list. So if you have a list of, let's say, 10 items, 1, 2, and 10 will probably be your best seller. It's quite simple how the human brain works. We look at the first couple things, and we choose them. And the last one that's because it's the last one that we've seen. So usually by the first 1 or 2, we've decided if we want those. Popular items can be in the middle. So even though I just said 1 and 2 are very popular in 10, maybe those are good spots for putting your less popular but very profitable items. If an item is already popular, you can put it in the middle and you're going to still get those sales on it, and you don't have to work hard for it. Sometimes in a list of 10 things, we lose the list. You kind of lose your eye placement and you kind of skip over some things. So often what we will do for menu design is that we'll put icons, or like the little green leaf if it's healthy, or a little spicy red pepper if it's spicy. We have graphics, we underline things, we box things, anything to kind of break your eyes out a little bit. A couple tricks: be mobile friendly, offer different portion sizes, lunch, dinner, starter, entree, things like that. And a packaged meal is also really great. So combo meals at all fast food places, they work great. The Keg does a classic dinner, which gives you a salad and your entree. People seem to really like that, and they think that they're actually getting a great deal, which not always are they. I want to go back to that slide. So this here is just a little bit of a menu. It's not huge. It really only has 4 options for each of their little areas, but it gives you an idea of how this menu is set up. So they have just these 4 little items. They put the ones I think that they probably want to sell the most of up top. The reason I like 4 is because the first 2 and the last one, you're really not losing much. It's not a long list. They put their little icons here and there. You will notice a few things. They have 3 different styles of text. So they have these big titles. They have their actual list of what their item is, their menu item. And then in italics, they have the description of it. But that's all they have. And they've chosen a few colors to stick to. A couple things that they do to kind of highlight some items is that they put these little icons in there. They limit them to 4. And sometimes they even have little other items that are in different colors to kind of bring your eyes there. So it's a decent menu. It's not huge by any means, but it's probably something that you might want to create. Oh, I didn't mean to go to that, but I think we're going to. So this is an article here that I want you to read. We're obviously not going to read it right now, even though my computer is trying to. And it's all about menu engineering and how we are essentially tricking customers into ordering what we want them to order. My computer has frozen. but I'm still recording. Okay, I'm gonna, oh, there we go. Here we go. So, power of print. I'm gonna speed up a little bit, but again, I want you to go through these PowerPoints and read them on your own to make sure you're getting all the information. So, the power of print. So, if I were to look at these, and I'm trying to think, I want to do some sort of old-fashioned diner, you know, like a breakfast place or a Galaxy diner, and I'm selling an old-fashioned hamburger, what I would usually do is ask you, which text would you like to use? And some people often go with this one here, because it has kind of that old-timey feel, and some people like the red one as well. Even a few kind of go with these more Gothic sans kind of text. And the text, the style of font that you use can really impact what your concept is. So some might look very young and fun and kid-friendly, and same with this one. Some might look a little bit too fancy, so it's going to be a little bit higher priced. So the most people that pick are usually this one here or the red one, and a few have picked this one, although I feel like it's a bit too busy. Now, the reason that we're talking about print is because it's really impactful on how people spend money. A restaurant that I used to work at had very small print. We actually lost sales per customer because it was too hard for them to read, so they would just choose something and pass it away. So don't go lower than a 12-point font. And if your target market is older, which at Friday Harbor there will be a lot of the older, more what's the word? Drink some coffee first. More established people, they're going to have a hard time reading anything under 12. Stick to no more than 3 different types of font, usually one for a heading, another one or for a category, another one for the menu item and the price, and then maybe one in italics for the actual description of what is in there. So this is an appetizer. It's a smoked bacon quesadilla and a slow smoked brisket, jack and cheddar cheese, pico de gallo, and ancho sour cream and avocado. So just a little bit more information about what's going on there. Headings, menu items, and copy. So copy is how we describe a dish. Also the use of white space. So white space is actually not an enemy. So sometimes using blank space is great because it actually focuses you on what isn't blank. So it's easier for readers to focus on the written parts, and it's just something that you don't want to make your menu too busy. So as an example, here's a big white space. And this right here is very easy to read. We are focused on this text. That's great. Next slide is just all kinds of information, and I'm not going to read it, but it's just too much stuff going on. So simplicity and clarity works best. Try to stay away from the busy, cluttered menus. They may look funny and are generally just confusing to most people. Okay, so a couple of things. Photos. Photos are great for menus only if you can ensure that you can replicate that photo. So as a perfect example, if we look at a McDonald's burger, so the advertisement says, here you go, come eat our burger, it's fantastic. And then you get the actual burger, and now this is from the most attractive angle, it doesn't look great. So every time I order this from McDonald's and I get this, I am not happy about it. And my whole feeling about that place kind of goes down. Burger King. This is the burger, or this is the Whopper, I believe. And this is the actual with cheese, and it's actually slightly fluffed up. Another option, Taco Bell. With the advertisement versus the actual taco. And you can just get a feeling. So if you do put pictures in your actual menu, just be careful, ensuring that it's not something that you can't replicate. Often what you see is that people do kind of more of a comical picture. So it's not real life, but it is kind of imagery showing turkey or a hamburger, sandwich, ice cream, whatever it might be. And then that way they don't actually have to replicate that. People know it's not real. And then pricing. So a couple things you need to know about pricing. So pricing, dollar signs are actually usually the enemy. We know that when we go to restaurants, we spend money. So if putting a dollar sign there actually seems to make people feel like it's more expensive. It's reminding them that they're spending money. And we don't want to remind people. $9.99. So, you know, you go to the dollar store. You go to the Walmart. There's a lot of the 99 cents, you know. And that's fine for that. But what it communicates is value. It doesn't communicate quality. So I want my food to be quality, but I want my tissue paper to be value, right? Like I don't really care about that. I want that to be cheap, but I don't want to eat cheaply. I don't want to eat bad food. I want good quality. So just make it $10. It's 1 cent more. It's not going to hurt your revenue whatsoever. And it looks better. It looks like we're not worried about trying to sell you on something. So price formats that end in 9s usually do not communicate value. If you need to use cents, 95 cents or 50 cents or 25 cents is a little bit friendlier. Also, aligning the prices in a column is not generally the best idea. Or if they are aligned, make sure they're not right beside each other. Because what happens often is that people will just go through the list and see the most expensive. No, they see somewhere nice in the middle and they'll order that. So you got to be careful of that. Also, adding zeros, all of the digits and everything you don't really need to do. Now, this is your menu, and if it makes sense for your menu concept, that's fine. But typically what you will see is people doing this. Where it's 14 with a period after or 14 in a dash. People know that it's $14 and that's what they're spending. And then descriptor. So limit to about 10 words or fewer. You have a little, like menu space is limited, so you don't have a whole lot of room. So basically the things that you want to talk about are what's the most impactful words that you can choose to describe a meal. So usually they describe the method of preparation. So if it's grilled, steamed, boiled, fried, hand battered, things like that. The essential or main ingredients. So if it's an 8-ounce sirloin, I'm going to want to know the size and that it's a sirloin. How is it served or what it comes with? The quality claims. So if it's AAA or USDA Prime, or in the variety or geographic origin. So if it's hand-fed, hand-raised, Alberta beef, grass-fed, all of those things, people want to know, and we'll just pay more money. So if you have those items and you're paying premium for those items, you have to let the customer know so they're willing to pay premium for those items. And then what comes with the entree? So this is a question that you shouldn't want the customer to say. They shouldn't have to ask. It should be located on there somewhere. So make sure somewhere in there, if all of your burgers come with fries or a side salad, ensure that that is actually on your menu in a place that they will easily find it. And then if used correctly, you will sell the item. So house banana split, which is sweet bananas with warm chocolate cake and vanilla ice cream, becomes a Tahitian banana split. Caramelized bananas with molten dark chocolate cake and a homespun Tahitian vanilla ice cream. Right? Which one would you rather order? And it's the same dish. So here's some descriptive words, which I'll leave with you. A couple other information about on your menu, the boilerplate. So this is ensuring you have social media websites, telephone numbers, address, hours of operation, things of that nature. We do go into using colors, but I'm not going to go through all this because I'm just kind of getting too long. It's already 29 minutes. And then the last thing is the primacy or recency theory. So ultimately what we do is that we do a scan technique when we look at menus, and we wait for something to pop out at us. So eye magnets are essentially things that are going to draw us to look at something. So we like to put in our own little eye magnets, and that is what menu design is. Trying to push or pull the customer into ordering what we want them to order, but that they will enjoy. So that's about it for menu psychology. There was a couple articles and videos throughout this PowerPoint I want you to read up on. Make sure you use the in-class notes, answer those questions, and then we will have our next in-class assignment. So when you're all done this, go to the assignment file on Blackboard and you will see this week's 7.5% in-class assignment, which I hope you think will be a lot of fun. This particular in-class assignment coming up, you may do in groups. So if you know what your group is, fantastic. If you don't, that's okay. You can do it individually. And if you end up choosing a group by the end of week 4, that's fine. Have a great week, everyone. Talk to you soon.